Now that you've seen the back side of everything works, I'm going to now get you into the computer, and we're going to use the password right here, which is FSC1049. And that's going to get you in the computer. It's going to load because I actually just restarted it. But now that we're in the computer, we're going to open up Ableton, which is at the bottom dock. And it's going to take just a few seconds to load. When it opens up, it's going to open up to the previous session, or actually in this case it's untitled. But most of the times it opens up to the previous session, the previous weekend. What we're going to do is we're going to go to File to go to the current weekend, and then go to Open Recent, and then go to October 3rd. And when it opens, this is actually a session that I showed in depth how I put together in part 2. So before we get to part 2, let me show you just some basic stuff. So the next step is you have to make sure that this computer is talking with our track rig right here that's going upstairs to our soundboard. And how we do that is we go to Live, we go to Preferences, and then we go to Loop Community, which it actually is already connected, so that's beautiful. But if you see it, most times it's going to probably be on MacBook Pro speakers, and all you have to do is switch it to Loop Community Track Rig. And then you hit the X, and it'll be solid. And if we test it real quick, we can hit on the drum pad, stop and play. You can see it's working. So let's go and talk about the drum pad real quick, and then I'll lead into how to maneuver through here. So actually, first thing, you're gonna do plus to zoom in, minus to zoom out, and then you can do your trackpad to do that as well. But either way, let's just go ahead and see. These 3 tracks are Yes I Will, Egypt, and Got a Revival. And that correlates with song 1, 2, and 3. And what happens is, if you hit this, it will correspond there, correspond here, correspond there, and then reprise, and then it goes right back. It doesn't matter where you are in the session. If you hit this, it will bring it right to the markers that they're at. And I show this in the next video, but the way of adding a marker is by going to the top here and hit Set. And you can see you can then rename it, which again, I show this in the next video again. Now everything is already connected to the MIDI cues on here with these markers and with stop and with play, but I'm going to show you how to do it in case it doesn't work. So what you do is you actually, let's just delete this one for now. So delete, you're going to hold down your trackpad, you're going to click it, and then you're going to hit song 1. And as you saw, it corresponded, and now when we hit MIDI out, it works again. Now, let's say I take it off. It doesn't go back to 1. Does not go back to 1. So what I'm going to do again is just show you how to do it again. MIDI, hold down your trackpad, click on the actual cue, and then hit 1. And now everything is lined up with 1. It goes back and forth very nicely. So that's beautiful. The next thing we're going to show is stop, and we're going to show play. The first thing with stop is wherever you are in the session, stop is a very important thing because it does it 2 different ways. If you are here playing, right, and you see the time code is going right here at the top, if I hit stop on the drum pad, it will stop it, but it won't bring it back to the beginning. That is why you hit stop twice. Because when you hit stop twice, now you can see right here, everything disappeared. It's going to 1, 1, 0, no longer have any time code going on. When you're in the midst of a problem or you want to go back to the beginning of the countdown or anything like that, you hit stop twice in the beginning of the service because we want to make sure that we're not playing it from a certain part of the session that we were already maybe in rehearsal or run through. So hit stop twice, and that will make it clear completely. If we want to hit the countdown, stop, play, start the countdown, and the countdown goes for 5 minutes. This space right here, you can see at the bottom here, is corresponding to an entire 5-minute countdown. And I show this in the next video more in depth. But for run through and pretty much anything that we do that we need to get the countdown to the first song, we don't want to just sit here for 5 minutes. When the actual weekend or the actual event is going, yes, we'll sit there, we'll go backstage and we'll pray. But to maneuver through, we want to go to the top right here and you can see the little speaker shows up. When you click that, that will bring you to the next point. So that's just a quick and easy way to kind of just scrub through, if I could say. And you can see right here, when you play it, it's gonna lead right to the first song. So let's let it go for a little bit, and it's gonna go right in for you.
One, two, 1, 2, 3, 4.
So we're right there into the first song. And the beautiful thing about Ableton is once you start the start at the beginning, it will keep running. It will never stop unless we either have to stop it because we are off click or because we have a computer crash, which that's why we're using Ableton, so we can get away from that issue. So because of that, when you are already running the track, the only thing you have to do is hit the next song. And then it will fade itself into the next song.
1, 2.
And song 3.
1, 2.
It'll then fade itself into the next song. Now let's say we have a problem, like I said, and we get off click and we have to stop it. What will happen is the drummer will hit stop. And now we're done. Like, we're running off with no click, no track, no nothing. And at that point, what's gonna have to happen is the drummer is gonna have to now hit song 2, depending on where we're at. If we're in song 1, then song 2, and then hit play. And song 3, and hit play.
2.
Now that only is if we're in a point where we had to stop the track and it's not still going. So that's pretty much the basics of everything, because of Ableton's power to keep on moving without you having to continuously bring to the next song.
3, 4.
The only time we don't have to hit anything in the cue is if we don't have a welcome in between. We're not really going free in a song, and every song goes into itself, which we've done that before. So if that's the case, you would just hit stop,
1,
play,
2.
and then it would run you all the way through the session. Now, the end of the message is the only other thing. We'll have the same kind of idea as the beginning, but we're not gonna do stop, play. We're gonna do reprise and start. And that's just gonna bring in a pad and a click, and we're just gonna play to that. And that's really simple. But either way, that is a little bit more in depth of how to maneuver around Ableton, the beautiful thing of Ableton, you know? So I'm gonna show you more in depth of how now I put this session together so that you can know in case of editing or turning volume down or cutting things, if anything happens, now you know how to fix that. So I'll send you there.